Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Do you know who my girlfriend is?
Barbara Streisand?
Barbara Streisand.
Sand.
Sand, yeah, like sands. Like the ocean, like
Barbara
beaches.
Streisand?
No, like Streisand.
Sand.
Not my director.
Hello, everyone. We are Last Night I Watched. I am Ian, and I'm with Carlos.
What's going on?
Oh, just another day. We're actually talking a lot of movies today, but this recording, we are talking about Licorice Pizza, the new Paul Thomas Anderson joint. And it stars Cooper Hoffman, Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Yeah.
And it also stars Alana Haim, who I didn't know anything about her actually before this movie. I guess she and her sisters are in a band called Haim.
I've heard of the band,
Yeah.
but I never really listened to them.
Me neither.
Yeah.
It's cool though.
Yeah.
But
they were all pretty new characters to me.
Yeah.
Alana and Gary Cooper especially.
This is his Gary, Cooper Hoffman. Gary Cooper. That's funny.
Oh no.
That's funny. This is his only movie he's done, to my knowledge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is like his first movie, and I thought he did a really good job for that fact.
I wonder if it was Alana's first film too.
I don't know. It may have been. I didn't look. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about whether she's done other stuff or not, movie wise.
They did really good.
They were great.
I liked them.
But yeah, where should we start? Should we start off with the premise of the movie, I guess?
Could you even describe this movie?
Yeah, I've been trying to, because I've been telling people I went and saw it.
And everybody asked me, what's it about? What's it about?
Right.
I'm like, I don't know.
I tell them it's like, a slice of life of one adolescent kid and a 25-year-old girl. And it takes place in, I believe, 1973. They go to a movie theater and Live and Let Die, the James Bond movie's playing.
Oh, okay.
Came out in 1973.
Oh, that makes sense.
Nixon's still president, too. There's a clip of Nixon. He resigned in 74. So I want to say this takes place in 1973.
There's also the OPEC gas crisis going on in this movie.
That was really cool. It tied into the plot, too.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, I read... I don't know where, but I read that Paul Thomas Anderson got the idea to make this movie 20 years ago. He was like walking by, he was just going for a walk, and he walked by like a middle school, and it was picture day, and he saw one kid like bugging one of the picture ladies, that Alana Haim plays. He's like, wow, that's interesting. I wonder if like that kid could actually go on a date with that girl, and what would happen.
Whoa.
I guess that sparked the idea. One of the ideas for this movie.
That's crazy.
I know, yeah, that was pretty funny. I like how, because, that's just so cool, like, something like that stemmed a whole motion picture.
Yeah.
So, just a little interaction of life. Not even interaction, just a little observing of something.
And that's pretty much how the movie opens.
Yeah.
Is, it's picture day,
Yeah.
and he's waiting in line and sees the chick working.
Yeah.
Alana Haim.
And we learn a lot about Cooper Hoffman's character, Gary. He's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
He was like one of the kids in this one, Under One Roof, I think the movie was called.
Oh, okay.
He's like
I don't remember it exactly.
I think that's what it was called. It's not a real movie, to my knowledge.
Oh, okay.
And he's like done, I guess, like probably commercial work and everything, I think is what he says.
Yeah.
And
he's got prospects.
Oh God, yeah. He's like he's only 15 and he's very he's a go-getter.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, entrepreneur.
Yeah, he invites her out to dinner at a very prestigious restaurant, I guess, that he goes to almost every night. And yeah.
I think, don't they give their ages in the beginning?
Yeah,
when they first meet.
He's 15, and he asks her. I think she gets pissed off at him. She's like, "You don't ask a woman her age.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You don't ask a woman your age."
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've come to learn she's 25.
I thought that would be a twist, though. I was waiting for a twist towards the end of the movie. Like, she'll explain, like, no, I'm actually, like, closer to your age. Like,
yeah, I could have seen that, but I guess
17
not.
or something.
Yeah,
no.
I guess not.
Yeah.
She's actually 25.
In real life, I think she's like 28 and he's 18.
Yeah. Because we saw this, myself, and my brother and Samantha, we saw this together, and my brother and I were talking about it before, and we thought she was also, because we were talking about how, like, Adam, my brother, was telling me that she's almost 30. It's like, wow, that's insane. And I thought she was going to be playing a high school student.
Yeah, me
I was
too.
like, I guess I could buy her as a high school student, but no, they play her off as 25. It's like, okay, that works too.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
that's
works as well.
yeah. I was waiting for the twist, and it never came, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this kind of weird, but okay,
Yeah.
I'm here for the ride, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a different time. It's the 70s.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
There's no
Oh, yeah.
rules. No rules in the 70s.
It's a very strange time because you're getting out of the hippie love era of the '60s, and you're getting into the I don't even know how you'd disco isn't a thing yet.
Is Vietnam still going on? I
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think they talk about Vietnam a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were still there.
It might be ending.
Yeah, probably. It's probably the tail end of Vietnam. It's just a very interesting time. Because, again, like, what do you think of when you think of the 70s?
When I think of the 70s, geez, I don't really think of much.
I think of disco, like,
yeah,
cocaine use in discos.
was Vice City around that time?
That's like 80s.
Yeah. I think a lot about it the 80s.
Yeah, because, like, that bleeds... late 70s almost kind of bleeds into early 80s.
Yeah.
As most decades do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very interesting... Because, like, Boogie Nights, another Paul Thomas Anderson movie, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of cocaine, a lot of disco,
Yeah.
But that took place later 70s, early 80s, which is very obvious.
Yeah.
But this one, yeah, it's and I thought it. I mean, we obviously weren't alive back then, but it looked very 70s-ish.
This film?
I thought like the aesthetic, their clothes, the cars, their houses.
Yeah, I felt like I was in the 70s.
Yeah.
There wasn't a cell phone in sight.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You have to call people old-fashioned way on the phones hung up on the wall.
Yeah.
And all that. And we saw it projected in 70 millimeter, and I think I told you when we were watching, like, that helped too.
Yeah, it looked great.
It did, and it definitely, for a movie that takes place in the 70s, I thought it helped feel more like the 70s almost.
Because you want a lot of that background action.
Yeah.
Like what's going on in the background.
Yeah.
The old cars.
Yeah.
The old
Yeah.
sights.
Yeah.
And it's like, it takes place like in LA almost.
Yeah.
Or it's like supposed to be the San Fernando Valley or
I think
something
so.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where a lot of his movies take place. I think that's where he grew up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
But Gary, he's an actor, so like they visit a lot of the acting places.
Yeah.
I think there's a few auditions.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this movie, he's like a child actor, but now he's huge.
Yeah, he's a
There's
tall,
that whole
tall
bit with
kid.
Maya Rudolph.
Right, that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you're huge." Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny to see him kind of be like rivals with that one dude who kind of hits on Alana as well.
Yeah.
That's kind of entertaining.
They act together, I think.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
But there's no licorice pizza in this movie. I don't even think they eat pizza. in
No,
this
I don't
movie.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But like you were saying, it's like a slice of life. So I think that's what.
Yeah,
What are you going for?
I read the trivia for this movie, and I think I told you about it. Licorice Pizza was a record store chain
Oh yeah, yeah.
in the LA area in the 70s. And
So even the title's like a little nostalgic
yeah,
too.
yeah, which was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Very fitting. It's definitely a nostalgic piece for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot different than Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights,
Yeah.
you have violence, guns,
Yeah.
drugs, and everything.
Yeah.
And this
Porn,
one's
a lot of
just
porn.
yeah.
Yeah.
This one's just a little love story
Yeah.
between a couple kiddos.
Yeah. Yeah, very very much so. Yeah, it's very interesting the way they act with each other is just so funny.
Yeah.
And Gary's such a funny character. He's very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
If that's even a word. He's an entrepreneur. Like, he starts his own waterbed company, and then he starts his own pinball machine hall.
Yeah. Well, but then it's also weird because you contrast that with Alana, who's almost very immature.
Yeah.
Because she'll come home and get mad at her family and start
Right,
kicking
yeah,
and screaming
yeah,
on her bed and
yeah,
everything like a little
yeah,
girl.
Yeah. That's funny.
She still lives with her family.
Right,
You know?
yeah.
But
And it's her actual family. I thought that was cool.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
I was like, these characters look a lot like her.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I was like, I don't know if I'm just like looking into it too much.
This is amazing casting.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end credits, like, oh my god, yeah, it's their actual family. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really neat.
It was really. I did like her family too.
Yeah, they
like
were
interacting with them. They were
Yeah,
hilarious.
Felt pretty realistic.
Yeah. She brings home the other boy,
Yeah,
and the
Yeah.
father asks him to like say a blessing.
yeah,
He's like, "Oh no, I'm actually atheist."
yeah. He's like, oh yes, I was indoctrinated into the the Judaism faith, but you know, having, I forget how he says it. He's like having you know, experienced my own personal you know, I forget what he says, like with Vietnam and all the killing and everything. I just can't believe that there's a God.
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, that pisses the dad off.
Yeah.
And
That was
she
a good bit.
Yeah, she has a funny line. She's like, what does your penis look like? He's like, what? She's like, what does your penis look like? He's like, it looks like a normal penis, I guess. She's like, are you circumcised? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, then you're a fucking Jew. And then she walks off. Pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Paul Thomas Anderson movies. They're just dialogue like that. It's
Yeah,
kinda
those
funny.
are good ones.
Just like kind
Good
of
little
random
bits.
out of nowhere dialogue.
Yeah. I heard this described as almost like an SNL skit show just put all into one thing. Because it's not really like a coherent...
Right.
I think
yeah.
that's... When we left the theater, I told you that, oh, this is like... I don't know how to describe this movie.
Yeah.
It's not like a linear movie like
Yeah.
Taken, I think
right.
I said.
Right. Yeah.
Where
There's no,
he
there's
has an objective at the beginning and
there's
he
no
has to accomplish
conflict. There's not much conflict in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind that though. It works for me because I like the characters.
it. Mm-hmm.
I think the acting is really good.
Yeah.
It's just that can entertain me. If the characters are interesting enough, they're all interesting. You know, they all have their kind of little eccentric idiosyncrasies too,
Yeah.
and
And
that
I
goes a long
find-
way for me.
I find myself thinking about these types of movies a little bit more too, though, because they're just like hangouts with cool buds.
Yeah, exactly.
almost.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
Cool shenanigans.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do next?
Yeah.
Start a waterbed company and go to Barbara Streisand's house and install one.
Yeah. That. I wanted to talk to you guys about this after the movie. Have you ever been on a waterbed?
No.
Dude, so we had family friends, and they had a daughter, and she had a waterbed. This is like late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And I don't know why, but we would go over there a lot to their house. And I don't know why. I think maybe like my parents and her parents, because she was in her late teens. She was much older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think her parents and my parents went out, and she was like babysitting me at their house. And I fell asleep on her waterbed, and I couldn't stand it. It was one of the most horrible experiences I've ever had sleeping.
What?
And I don't sleep good in general. It's just not, I just don't like it. It's just
Too much like motion, maybe.
Yeah, man. It's just not I just don't get the appeal of a waterbed.
It seems like a cool idea.
It's just so too fluid. Obviously, it's water, but
It's not like a solid thing you can just. lay
yeah,
on.
it's just really. I just didn't like it at all. It was just not fun. I
I'd be
did not
nervous.
like it.
I'd be nervous about popping it.
Yeah, I
somehow
think
and water
doesn't
going
Edward
everywhere.
Scissorhands do that?
Yeah.
Doesn't Winona Ryder have a waterbed and he accidentally pokes it because he has scissors for hands?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Yeah.
about during this film too.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think that's when they started popping up. Is that they got really big in the 70s.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because how does Gary find out?
He just
He like
walks
goes to
into
a
a store, yeah.
And
And I think the guy that sells it to him is Leonardo DiCaprio's dad.
Whoa.
What I read, which is really random.
That is.
Yeah. But yeah, and then he gets into the waterbed business.
Yeah, he's just all like, "Oh, how new are these?" He's like, "Oh, just like a couple days old. I just
Yeah.
got it in."
I read Gary's based off of an actual person, an actual child actor. I forget his name is Gary. In the movie, his name is Gary Valentine, but that's not the actual dude's name. It's Gary something else, and he was like a child actor, and then he started branching out. I guess he did have his own waterbed business.
What?
Yeah, and
That's really
whatnot.
cool.
That's what I read,
Huh?
and I thought that was pretty interesting.
That is.
The whole Bradley Cooper going to his house scene was really great.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Bradley Cooper was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, he was quite the character. Again, just good acting, you know, like weird ass people.
Yeah.
There's a part where like Gary and Alana go talk to this lady, this casting agent lady, and she's a weirdo too. She keeps bringing up Alana's Jew nose.
Oh,
You
that
have
was
such a
really
Jewish
uncomfortable,
nose.
huh?
You know, you got a lot of fire in you. I really like that. And you've got a great Jewish nose. She gets a phone call, and it's just like this totally like what the fuck phone call. She's like, no, oh no, take care, and that's the whole phone call. It's just I like because it's just I've been in those like just when you're just around people and just like something kind of just their little weirdness shows,
Yeah.
you know, and I like that. And some people are like, well, what was the point of that? It's like, well, I don't know. What's the point of, what's the point of watching a movie? I don't know. It's just entertaining. To me, it's entertaining. And that's what I go to the movies for. I go to be entertained, and shit like that, it entertains me.
Because that segment even got a couple laughs.
Oh, in the theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But
it's just so, kind of out there.
yeah. Like, does it really have a lot to do with the plot? I guess. Because she's trying to get a job as an actress.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it's just showing the weirdness of characters in general. Of characters in real life.
She kind of does get a gig, and she's with Sean Penn.
Yeah.
Sean Penn's like this older actor guy.
Sean Penn was a lot of fun in this
He was
one,
good
too.
in this. I'm not a big Sean Penn fan, but he was really good in this.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he keeps, they're like at dinner, and he keeps saying all this stuff. She's like, are these lines, or are you actually saying this? Or something. She says something like that.
Yeah, that was
Which
funny.
I thought was hilarious, because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, are they going over lines, or is he just talking? He's like talking about, like, in Korea we would fly over, and we would have, thousands of material, of weapons, and this and that. And then I was thinking the same thing. He's like, is he like saying stuff from movies, or is he just talking? And then she says the same shit. I'm like, that's hilarious.
I almost bought it too.
Yeah.
It's good.
And he doesn't answer it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Left
answered,
up.
which I thought was great.
And then they have that Sean Penn goes outside and they dig a pit and
The
he's gonna jump
Evel
over it.
Knievel stunt. Yeah, that was hilarious.
In the middle of having dinner, everybody outside.
Yeah, Tom Waits calls everybody outside to the 8th hole. I guess it's by a golf course or something.
Yeah.
The cock. What was it? They were at the cock. It was
Was
like
it-
the cock and something or other.
Was it the Cock and Bull?
Cock and bull maybe?
Was it?
And then yeah, because afterwards they go to the cock, to the cock. And yeah, he does his little Evel Knievel stunt. Alana's on his back, and then she falls off.
Yeah.
And then he goes and does the jump, and he like crashes at the end, which was funny. Yeah, that was a neat little scene.
I love the running scenes when Gary's running to pick her up, or when Alana's running.
When he gets arrested. That was so funny too. When he gets arrested
Oh,
at the convention, I thought that was so funny, because I'm like, oh, he got arrested because like they were selling pot. Weren't they selling pot? They're like, oh yeah, like when someone buys a waterbed, we'll give them a little bit of pot too.
Oh my God.
I thought that's why he got arrested. And
I didn't really catch that. I was wondering why he was asking that kid to get drugs.
yeah, that's what I thought. And then it just turns out they just mistook him for someone that murdered someone. And they bring him all the way to the jail,
Yeah.
like cuff him to the bench and everything. And then they realize it's not him. They just kind of uncuff him, and they're like, all right, well, just walk away.
I really like that shot though, where Gary's like looking outside and
Yeah.
Alana's like, "Come on, let's
Yeah,
go."
yeah, that
and then
was-
it like shows
yeah.
the reflection of the cuffs on the bench,
Yes,
and then Alana
yeah.
and him hugging.
Yeah.
In the background.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's a good shot.
Yeah. Yeah, like she's all happy to, and then she's like, "What the fuck did you do? Did you murder someone or something?" Like, it's a very total 180.
But it's such a weird relationship too, because they don't really call each other boyfriend girlfriend.
They don't. Yeah.
She's going off with another one of the child actors.
Yeah.
And then like they kind of like get into some shenanigans, and she goes back into his arms and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's really interesting.
It is interesting.
Bradley Cooper's like trying to teach her how to drive.
Oh,
He's all
God.
like, "Oh, let me
Yeah.
guide you. Let me guide you."
Yeah.
Right in front of Gary.
Yeah, that shit was funny.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah.
I liked Bradley Cooper's character. He was
Yeah.
a crazy
John
person.
Peters, who's an
Based
actual,
off of an actual person.
And I read that, so the actual Gary actually went to John Peters' actual house to deliver him an actual waterbed. That all happened, but apparently the real Gary said that he was the nicest guy. He didn't act like that. So I don't know why they portrayed him. It's like the whole Bruce Lee and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood situation. I guess I don't know why they're portraying these people as kind of douchebags, but I
That
guess
is
it
kinda
makes
weird.
it makes it more interesting, because like John Peters comes across almost like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like he's like, if you do anything to fuck up my house, I'll kill you. I'll kill all of you. I'll kill your family.
Yeah. And then he runs down to the gas station to get gas, and he's like, "This is my pump now. This is my pump."
Yeah.
I thought that's where that scene was supposed to come in when he's smashing car windows.
I think it has to.
That must have been
Yeah.
what it was
They're
supposed
still
to be.
showing that in TV spots. I was
so weird.
my buddy and I, we were drinking cider the other night, and a TV spot came on. It's still in the TV spot. Yeah. Which that was so cool to see on the TV, because I'm like, I could already tell from the TV to what we saw, so different.
Really?
The 70
Like, you can see a
millimeter
lot
made
more?
such a difference. It was almost like night and day, which I thought was really neat.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, I could tell like right from that. Like, yeah, if you like pulled up a trailer right now, like I think you could tell.
Really?
Yeah.
I should do that.
Yeah, very different,
Yeah.
which is great. I mean, that's such a once in a lifetime experience. When you told me that, that's how Carlos and I we went to see this, because he said they were projecting it at the Tower Theater here in Sacramento, and they shot it on 35 millimeter stock, and there was this whole thing back in the day of blowing movies up to 70 millimeter because it was better sound, and 70 millimeter is like, people call it the Rolls Royce of film stock. Like, it's just the best quality you can get.
Yeah.
A lot of like epic movies were shot on 70 millimeter, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. I think it's technically 65, but when they print it out with the soundtrack, it bumps up to 70 millimeter.
Whoa.
It's a lot of shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of, like, I think Ben-Hur or Lawrence of Arabia, those kind of movies back in the day were shot on 70 millimeter. All these big, you know,
Gigantic
grandiose films.
Yeah.
And it got phased out probably in the 70s just because, I don't know, maybe just lack of access, or maybe just people just kind of got, you know, just like, 35 millimeters fine. And it is.
35 is like the standard.
Yeah. And you got to see the Hateful Eight, Quentin Tarantino's 70 millimeter there too.
Yeah.
Which I wish we tried to go see it on Christmas, but it was just too packed.
Yeah. They actually called some people in. If you go to Tower Theater's Facebook page, they called some people in from LA to run the projector.
That's so amazing because, no one, I mean, I don't think anyone really knows how to project any kind of film anymore, let alone 70 millimeter.
Yeah, everybody's gone digital.
Yeah, so that was really cool to hear. But I didn't know about that until you told me the next day.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
They have pictures on their Facebook too, if you guys are interested. They have the 70 millimeter rolls.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's another thing you were talking about was like, I wonder, because you said 35 millimeters. There's like 6 film canisters for a whole movie.
Yeah.
And you have to keep changing the reels.
You brought that up. We were seeing the dots in the corner.
Oh yeah.
That was so cool.
But you were wondering like if, because 70 millimeters is so big, if you need more reels or.
I don't think so. It probably is still 6. I don't know if anyone whoever listens to this, if you know anything about that, you can correct me. But I think it's still 6 reels. But yeah, you pointed out. It's like, do you see the little dots? And I'm like, yeah, dude, that brings back memories. Because as a kid, I was like, I remember that as a kid going to see movies, and I remember just being like, am I imagining those? Like, what are those? And then I found out through Fight Club, Brad Pitt and Edward Norton explained that that's the real change, and Brad Pitt's like, in the industry, we call those cigarette burns.
And then that's when you know to switch over your reel to the next reel to feed the rest of the movie.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, that was a good... It's just cool to see that.
Yeah.
The cigarette burns in an actual movie.
Yeah. Yeah, just brings back so many memories. Because, like, I don't think I'd seen a film projected in 10 years or more.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
Long time. So, and it looked great.
It looked good.
It looked great.
It was a good-looking movie.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I appreciated was whenever I'm talking to my mom, we got to get an electric car. It's better for the earth. We got to get an electric car. She's like, do you know, like, what we went through when we were younger? Like, there were gas shortages back when we were back in the day.
Right.
You want to get a hybrid car. That way you can either go gas or electric. Because, like, what if there's no electricity?
Right.
And
oh, man, that's scary.
I think this year Texas actually ran out of electricity.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Mom's kind of right.
Yeah.
You want to have, like, ability to do both.
Right. Yeah, that's something we should talk about. That plays a big factor in this movie.
It shows
running out of gas and everything.
1970s gas crisis. Because I think it was the OPEC organization in the Middle East. They were like,
did they create an embargo, oil embargo, something like that? Yeah.
Between like the Western nations,
right?
So, it's kind of cool how it's introduced too. It's like halfway through the movie, Alana and Gary are hanging out in like a cafe,
right,
reading the newspaper, so you can see the headlines. I
thought that was cool too. He sees an ad for Deep Throat, which was a big porno movie.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I thought maybe he was gonna go take her to it, but it just shows it, which I thought was really cool.
Just to kind of put you in the time space.
Yeah.
And then even on the TV up in the cafe, it's explaining, oh yeah, there's the big OPEC embargo.
Yes. Yeah.
And Nixon's on screen to talk about it, saying, sorry guys, we're going to have to go without luxuries for a while.
Yeah.
Not as much gas, guys. Sorry.
Alana has to explain to him, like, you know, do you hear this? Like, we're not getting oil over here. He's like, yeah, I know. And he says something, he's like, oh, I know, yeah, I'm aware. And then she's like, well, you know, like, the water beds are made out of vinyl. He's like, yeah. And she's like, well, you know, oil's in vinyl. Did you know that? And he's like, no, I didn't know that. It's like, what did you think they were made out of, Gary? And she's like getting pissed off, and it's like, I thought it was like a superficial material, like a rubber, and that's what I was gonna say too. I was in my head, I'm like, well, it's like I would think vinyl is like rubber, and then she's like, oil's in rubber too. I'm like, oh god, of course.
I didn't
Of
know
course.
that.
I didn't know either, but it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, oil, dude. Oil makes. That's why it's such a valuable thing.
Yeah.
It makes so much shit out of oil.
Liquid gold.
Yes, exactly. But that was a cool scene. I thought that was funny because again, it's just like that would be me. I was like, well, I thought it was the way he says it. I think he says it like that too. He's like, I thought it was a superficial material, like a rubber.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what I would have like retorted with too. Like, oh, I thought it was like vinyl, rubber. They're similar. You know? It was a really funny scene. Good chemistry between those two.
Yeah.
Really good
they're
chemistry.
great. One thing that I noticed about Gary's character is like every scene that he starts out, whenever they're getting ready to get up or go anywhere, he's always tucking his pants in the back.
Yeah, that's
Did you
right.
notice that?
Yes,
He's always tucking his pants
That's so
in.
funny. Yeah. His good old 70s outfits and shirts and all. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
But then the gas crisis, it actually leads to like new plot developments too.
Yeah.
Like he can't have his business anymore.
Right, yeah.
They're trying to actually, I think, pack up his store, and they pack it all into a truck, and they run out of gas immediately because there's gas lines everywhere.
Yeah,
There's no way to get gas.
And that plays a whole big factor in the John Peters sequence because
Yeah.
they're late because they can't get gas.
Yeah,
And then
that's right.
John Peters runs out of gas. And they have to go to the gas station, and then they have to like kind of roll back the truck.
That
They roll
was
backwards
crazy.
or whatever.
Because they went up to. That was actually a really good, like, tense sequence.
Yeah.
Of just,
yeah.
almost like kids being kids.
Yeah, exactly.
In a way, because they first, like, flood his waterbed and
Yeah.
they flood his room and
Yeah.
everything. And so they're trying to get away. Hee.
Yeah.
And they almost get away and he needs gas.
Yeah, he just appears in the street, and it's like because at first I was like, "Oh God, does he already know?"
Yeah, exactly.
find
yeah.
out?
But there's
And
no
he's-
cell phones back then.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
then he's
how
like,
could he?
"Scooch over." He's like, "Yeah, we need to go back to my place. I ran out of gas." No, actually, he doesn't say that. The whole car ride, I'm like, wait, does he? So is he just not pissed off or something? Like, and then he gets pissed off at his butler guy. He's like, "You blew it, man. There's no fucking gas in the tank or whatever." I'm like, "Oh God, he doesn't even know."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that shit was funny.
That was good.
Very tense.
Very tense.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit of comedy where he's, like, trying to steer Alana back down the mountain.
Yeah, because he really likes women.
Yeah.
So much so that it's almost a problem. Yeah, that was funny.
And then he, like, starts freaking out at the gas station, so they leave him.
Yeah, they just drive off.
Yeah. So they go
Yeah.
smash his window.
Right, they
back on the
smash his
mountain.
Ferrari. That's right. Yeah, god damn.
And then, of course, the hijinks ensues where they ran out of gas because of the whole plot point.
Yeah,
So cool.
yeah, yeah. Again, it tied in, which I thought was really neat.
Which I wonder if those driving scenes were actually, like, shot.
I read Alana Haim's actually driving that truck.
Whoa.
That's what I read. It looked like it.
It looked like practical.
Yeah.
Like, nothing was digital
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I thought that was really
Like,
cool.
drifting it down the mountain.
Yeah, and I'm
That's-
sure that's not a easy thing to drive.
No.
So good on
No.
her.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I think one of my favorite scenes is when they get back down and they're all like, "Oh, we did it. We
Yeah.
got away with it."
Yeah.
So they're gonna go pick up some gas, and then in
Yeah.
the distance you just see Gary and his buddies
They're
like
all,
humping the gas
like
tank.
jerking it off and
Yeah.
everything and pretending to blow it. That was so funny.
That was a good shot.
That was so
and
funny.
Alana's just chilling out
Kids
on the
being
sidewalk.
kids, you know?
Yeah.
And then John Peters walks by again and he's still all pissed off. And then he he goes and bothers these two tennis chicks walking by. He's like, "Oh yeah, bet you have a good backhand," or whatever he says or something. That was pretty funny.
man.
Such a goofy motherfucker.
So obsessed with women.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, a lot of the shit he says to Gary. I told you this. Kevin Smith has this very famous story about when in the 90s he was approached to write a Superman movie they were composing, and John Peters was the producer, and he went to John Peters' house, and he was just such a goofball. And John Peters told Kevin Smith, he's like, you know, like why you and I get Superman, like why we understand Superman. And Kevin Smith's like, no, why? He's like, because you and I were from the streets. And he keeps telling Gary that. He's like, yeah, man, I get you. You know, like you're from the streets. Me too. We're
Whoa.
both from the streets. I get that.
That's
It's so
awesome.
funny. I don't know if that's just something John Peters would say to people or what, but I thought that was a pretty little funny gag, funny little line. Made me kind of smile.
It was also funny how he was talking about Barbara Streisand too.
Yeah, Streisand.
Streisand.
And he's just like, just stop.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You know Barbara Streisand? Yeah, I'm with her, but it kind of gets boring sometimes. I think he was
Right,
saying.
right, yeah. Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's great, but it gets kind of boring sometimes. It's like, is that your girlfriend? And he's like, no. It's like, and then I think maybe that ties in it. He's like, yeah, it gets kind of boring sometimes, or something like that. Such a weirdo.
That was a good.
But
Character.
he's a very interesting, entertaining character, and
Yeah.
that's why, because he's such a fucking like psychopathic goofball,
Yeah.
hairdresser, fucking goofy dude.
You know what? We kind of didn't even talk about the restaurant owner.
Yeah.
He owns the Japanese
yeah.
restaurant, and he has a wife at the beginning.
Yeah, so I was trying to understand that. So that's Gary's mom that's talking to them?
Oh yeah, she's like trying to help make like an ad for their
I think
business.
so.
I think.
Yeah, I think so. Because
Yeah.
Gary's there in the background kind of watching it all.
Taking notes, how to be an
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah, because they have a Japanese restaurant, and I'm sure that was very novel at the time.
Yeah, probably.
Like, very not big. And,
They were making pamphlets, I guess.
right. And then, of course, the guy is very racially insensitive and just, what does he say? He's like, he's talking to his wife. He's just doing this very, very awful stereotypical Asian voice.
Well, it was funny because we did the Gremlins episode,
Right.
and we were talking about how
It's the same
the
day.
Asian characters are portrayed almost like very, very, I don't know if you could say offensive, but Oriental, like, oh yes,
Yeah.
typical Asian stuff.
Yeah.
But then in this film in 2021, they're doing it, and he's like saying ching chong. He doesn't even know how to speak Japanese.
Yeah, he's like, how you say, like, he's something like, they're like talking about the food, and he's like, Ming Long, how do you say un entree? Like, it's just like just saying English words in this awful Asian accent.
Yeah.
And you said you were watching reviews, and some people thought that was very offensive.
Super offensive, yeah.
Well, but isn't that the point?
Yeah.
You know, isn't that the point?
Because
Like,
it's a different time. It's the 70s.
and the
People
guy's
were
just
like
a fucking,
weird.
And again, I was telling you this before we were recording. It's like, it's just, to me, it's to get the point across. Like, the guy's just a moron.
Yeah.
You know, I guess he just marries Japanese women just cause, I don't know.
I don't know.
Just like Japanese women.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was the point of it. Just like, yes, this guy is very racially insensitive.
Yeah.
It's the best phrase I can think of, or just culturally inept. I don't know.
Well, but maybe there was a lot of that in America.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
sure, yeah,
like we
probably.
haven't even progressed that far in a way because we recently had that hashtag Stop Asian Hate.
Yeah, which
Like,
I've
just
never
the other year.
I've never got that. I don't know why. It's very strange.
Yeah.
I don't know why people hate Asians. Asians hate Asians.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff.
It's
a lot
just
of prejudicial
interesting.
biases.
Yeah.
But,
It's just that slice of 70s life, what it looked
Yeah.
like back then.
yeah.
And then you get to the other slice of life of the politician.
Yeah,
Alana
so
goes and
we
works
didn't
for a
even talk about
politician.
that.
Yeah.
That stuff was really interesting.
Yeah.
Really
I
interesting.
really like that plot point.
Yeah.
She like goes and volunteers for a local guy running for mayor.
Yeah.
And they're in the office, and at a certain point it's like, oh, is her friend gonna be a love interest there,
Right,
and we're
yeah.
gonna lose Gary, or is like the actual guy running for mayor gonna be the love
Right.
interest? Like,
yeah.
oh, she's like,
he invites her out to dinner and
she's
everything.
like double, triple dipping.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everything, damn.
Yeah. My brother pointed out that the guy who plays the mayor was one of the dudes who directed Uncut Gems.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Hmm.
Thought that was pretty interesting.
He had a very interesting face. Like,
Yeah.
almost recognized him, but
Yeah,
couldn't.
I know. Same.
I think it was
yeah,
the eyes.
Probably.
Yeah. But then he turns out to be gay.
Yeah, that
and he
was-
asked
that
Alana
was-
to come to dinner so she could cover for him,
And
basically.
there's the guy outside watching.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
He walks in. I thought the guy was gonna assassinate him or something. That's the vibes I was getting. But maybe he was just trying to get
A scoop.
on his gay life.
Yeah, so that they can use it against him in the election or something.
Yeah, I guess that's what I took away from it.
Mhm.
Because he's at the restaurant too,
Watching
them, and that's why the mayor or the politician running for mayor calls Alana to basically give off that she's actually involved with the politician's boyfriend, and she takes him home.
Yeah.
And that shit was sad.
That was pretty emotional.
Yeah, the boyfriend almost looked like Iceman from X-Men. I don't know if it was or not.
Oh man, I don't remember.
I should have looked that up. But it looked a lot like him.
Yeah.
I forget that actor's name.
Yeah.
But,
I don't think it was the same.
Really?
I don't think so.
You know what? I'll look it up.
I kind of recognized him, but I don't think that it was the Iceman.
I'll look it up.
Cause I like that actor too.
Yeah.
From the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a lot of emotion in that scene.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Cause it's like that mayor, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Exactly.
Try to hide his relationship, and
exactly.
the boyfriend just wants to come out and, be free. But
Yeah.
back then, just like with the Asian stuff, it was a lot different. Being gay was looked down upon, and
Yeah.
I don't even think that we had the gay rights until 2012 maybe.
Yeah.
2014.
I think it was kind of things were kind of like with Harvey Milk and everything. Things were kind of starting a little around them, but definitely not as progressed as we are now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good scene. Very very sad, but very very good.
Yeah.
So once the waterbeds go kaput, he gets involved in pinball machines, and that was really cool too because they had just decriminalized pinball machines. That was a fucking thing. Like they were banned.
Yeah.
You had to go to like little speakeasies to play pinball because I guess they viewed it as
Gambling?
pinball. Yeah, exactly. Which is so. I thought that got lifted I thought that got lifted in like the 40s or the 50s, not the 70s.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. So
That is pretty crazy.
yeah, now that pinball's legal, he goes and buys a bunch of pinball machines. That was a pretty decent turnout.
It shows how clever Gary is too.
Yeah,
He just kind of gets the drop listening to the politicians talk about decriminalizing it.
Right,
He's
that's right.
I'm gonna go invest in pinball machines
And
now.
then Alana gets pissed off. She's like, of all the things they said today, all you took away is the pinball machines?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, hey, that's his thing,
He's a go-getter.
Yeah, exactly.
And back in the 70s, you could probably do stuff like that too.
Yeah, and it's funny. He's only a 15-year-old kid, and he's pulling all this shit off.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Who's giving 15-year-old kid all this?
No, but it's
stuff?
funny though. The way he sweet talks himself into things.
He pretty much opens like the same storefront again too, but only this time instead of waterbeds, it's full of
the
pinball machines.
Yeah, that was cool. And some dude's just like totally getting it on with the pinball machines. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? It's not gonna help your strategy at all. Like, knock it off.
Tilting.
Yeah, and ramming yourself into the fucking pinball machine. Like, fuck off. What are you doing? That's not gonna help you.
Whenever I go to like play pinball anywhere, it always says "Do not tilt the machine." I guess
That's
is that
so
where
funny.
it's from?
I guess I don't get why that's not gonna help you. At least for me,
It might
like,
buy you like a split second of more of time. I think.
Maybe, yeah.
I know that controls in that one that comes on your computer, Space Pinball.
Yeah.
Tilt.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I think
man.
you might get punished if you like tilt too many times on that game. I
Whoa,
can't remember
that's
exactly.
funny. That's hilarious.
Classic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we played that all the time.
But yeah, he's like humping the crap out of the machine.
And then there's a girl later on, and he's doing the same thing. Almost looks like they're having sex.
Yeah.
Funny.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
And then there's like, I don't remember what's going on between Gary and Alana at this point. She's like not there.
I think this is right after she drops the one boyfriend of the politician off.
Oh,
And
that's right.
He goes looking for her.
Yeah, Gary's like, "Where's Alana?"
Yeah, and then they find each other.
They're running. Another great running segment too.
Yeah, and it kind of
That was-
flashbacks to all the other runs. In the
Oh
movie.
yeah, it does.
That was cool.
Yeah, that might have been a little too heavy-handed for me. I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah,
you needed to.
That's a good point.
Show them again.
Yeah, I thought it worked though.
Yeah, it worked.
But that's also a good point. It wasn't needed.
It wasn't needed, but I guess
I
it's
thought it
fine.
worked, though.
Yeah.
I thought it worked out fine.
It like says no, like really, here's the history between these guys.
Yeah.
And now they're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
And this time fall in love.
Exactly.
And I think Gary even says like, everybody, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Alana. What's his last name? Valentine.
Yeah.
Mrs. Alana
And then
Valentine.
doesn't she like slap him or something?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. One thing I was telling you is one thing I really liked about this movie was Cooper Hoffman and Alana Haim just look like such normal people.
Yeah.
They're not, I mean, Cooper Hoffman has like acne.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Alana Haim is someone considered to be like a
They're not Mrs. and Mr. Smith.
yeah, like the the atypical Hollywood movie star.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this movie. It makes it just feel a little more relatable and
Real.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, that goes a long way for me.
Yeah. I
I think everyone too, like all like the kids that are helping out and everything, just look like normal kids.
yeah.
All the people helping out in the politics, like they just kind of look, yeah, just like normal people.
It's even just Alana's family.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's-
Just not
it's
so
very
glamorous.
real.
Just
Yeah.
the way normal people just go about their lives and look.
Yeah.
I thought that was really neat.
Set in the 70s, and you
Yeah.
actually feel like you're in the 70s.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. It takes a lot to pull that off for me, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
Do you have a favorite part for this film?
Oh man, maybe the Bradley Cooper
That was good.
waterbed running out of gas scenario. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. That one was good.
What about you?
I still think it's that scene where they finally get to the bottom of the hill and they celebrate by getting gas.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
It was a good visual scene.
That was great. Yeah, that whole sequence was really good.
Yeah.
Probably the highlight of the movie for me.
Yeah. But everybody did pretty good in this movie.
Yeah.
The two leads were great.
Yes.
I want to see more with those two.
I know. Hopefully they get more acting gigs.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I get Cooper Hoffman. I mean, I don't even know if he was actually in a spot because he knows Paul Thomas Anderson because Paul Thomas Anderson had Philip Seymour Hoffman in a bunch of his movies.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully
you
they do
know.
more together.
yeah, I would like it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. It was good for his debut.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else is in it.
It closes out with a happy ending, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Good soundtrack.
You know, I don't really recall the soundtrack that much.
I thought it was pretty good.
Was it?
Yeah, some funk and some soul,
Okay.
some rock. They played the Doors.
Yeah, I think I
Peace
remember a
Rock.
little bit of the Doors.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
That's one thing too about set in the '70s. You have a lot of good music to choose from.
Yeah.
Which was neat. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to. I'm trying to think of other things, and I think we touched upon most of them. I think.
Yeah. I don't know what else you could say about this movie.
Yeah, I mean it's you know, I'm sure some people could dive more into it, but really for me it presented itself and
Yeah. It was
did
just
its
a good movie.
job very well, very well. Very well.
I was entertained. I was transported to another time.
Yeah.
What else? What else do you want?
Exactly.
Oh, what would you rate this one?
Right now probably 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I gave Spider-Man 4.5 out of 5. And I think that was just, I don't know, just there's a lot going on with Spider-Man, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
But this I think is a solid 4 out of 5 for me. It was very exceptional.
Yeah. It was shot well.
Yes, and again, the whole
Acting.
experience, going to see it. That's the cool thing about so far this month. It's been great seeing these movies with people.
Yeah.
You know, our showing of this was sold out.
Yeah, dude.
Last
A
night at
packed theater.
Spider-Man, it was very big as well, and you
Love
know,
it.
Yeah, it's just nice to get back to those times.
I heard there's gonna be another shutdown soon, possibly
Yeah.
because of Omicron variant.
Right? Yeah.
And I saw somebody online say, "Please just don't shut down before I see Matrix in the theater."
Yeah.
We're going on Wednesday.
We're only 3 days away.
Yeah,
So
I'm stoked.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be fun to see that with you guys.
Yeah, hopefully we can see it in theater.
I think we
before-
will. It's only 3 days.
Yeah, before the shit hits the fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
But-
it's also good to go and see that movie in the 70s and kind of get away from this shit.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Like, back in the day,
Seriously.
they had their own problems and
Yeah.
different problems, I guess.
Right.
Maybe even seemed a little bit easier.
That's
I
a
don't
very
know.
that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Now we're
Yeah.
battling viruses out here, boy.
Exactly. Goddamn. Yeah, shit's getting silly.
I think I gotta agree with you, though. I think I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay,
For
yeah.
this-
yeah.
for this one.
Yeah, very well done. By
It
a
was-
very, very good director.
Well done.
Not
yeah.
my favorite by his. Boogie Nights will always be my favorite by him, but
Yeah.
this was really good.
I'm a big fan of There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
Or Phantom Thread.
Yeah, The Master was good. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very talented director.
Yeah. Visually, it's fun.
Yeah.
A lot of good gags. The audience was laughing a lot in this one too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like at how ridiculous those Asian jokes were.
Yeah, and just, the way people act. It's just, it's just really, we all know, like, how Alana acts. We all know that kind of chick who just kind of flies off the handle pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we've all known those chicks in our past.
Yeah.
Or present.
Yeah.
We might know them in the future. It's just very relatable.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fun. I'm trying to think. She might have... I don't know who my favorite character was. Like, because she was really great. So was Gary. So was John Peters. So was Sean Penn's character.
Yeah.
The dude that sets up the 8th hole Evel Knievel shit was pretty funny, too.
Yeah.
Tom Waits' character.
Tom Waits was cool.
Yeah. Just a lot of good characters. All very interesting and fun.
Maya Rudolph was fun.
Right, yeah. It was cool to see her turn up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good movie.
Yeah, good ensemble, and yeah.
I recommend it. I think
new actors, old actors.
Yeah, we saw it on just like a limited one night only deal, but I think it's gonna come.
I think Christmas.
Yeah, for the wide release.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't shut down the movie theaters.
Are they really talking about it? Like really shutting everything down again?
I don't know.
I don't think we will. Not at least not to the extent of like March, April, May and whatnot of 2020. I don't think we'll ever get back to that.
I can't believe we got the mask mandate back.
I kind of can. I'm surprised it even went away.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying too. Like lockdown wise and stuff.
But the masks, masks, even though that is controversial and people get upset about it, I think that's a little different than, okay, you need to go back, you need to stay inside all the time again. I really don't think we just come so far from that.
Yeah. I
don't know, maybe I'm, knock on wood, we're shooting ourselves in the foot right here, but I don't know, we'll see. I hope it doesn't get back to that, because, this has been so great, going back to the movies again.
Yeah.
And I get tested every week for COVID, and I'm coming up negative, so I'm doing something right, so...
It hasn't gotten us yet.
Yeah. Again,
somehow.
Knock on wood. But yeah. If you people, whoever is listening, have a chance to go see this, whether it be in 70mm or not, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Very good movie.
It's a good getaway movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just forget about shit and just watch these fun people.
Rascallions.
Have a good, these little ragamuffins. Have a good time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah.
It's fun talking about Licorice Pizza.
Yes, as always.
Yes. Until next time, guys.
Take care.
Later.